Richard Red Skelton, who has entertained millions of Americans with his kind and gentle humor, was honored by Ball State University with a Doctors of Humanities degree. We're pleased to present, as our Ball State Today program, that ceremony.
Good evening. I'm Warren Vanderhill, the acting provost of Ball State University, and I want to welcome you this evening to the very special ceremony, the conferral of the honorary degree Doctor of Humanities honoris causa upon Red Skelton. It is now my very great pleasure to introduce Mr. Fritz Mountford, Director of the University Singers. Mr. Mountford. Thank you very much, Mr. Mountford and the University Singers. I should say to you that at this university we often take the talents of these young people for granted. And this morning I was having a conversation with Dean of the College of Fine Arts, John Urice, who reminded me the singers have been in rehearsal for all of 1 week. So I think we owe them a special debt for that outstanding performance. At this time, we are pleased to have Professor Wes Gehring, a Ball State faculty member who was selected as the 1985-86 Outstanding Researcher for the university and whose area of expertise just happens to be American comedy.
The one I still think is his greatest film, Southern Yankee, we have an extended clip here, about in the middle of the movie, and essentially, as I said before in my remarks, the Southern Yankee finds him starting as a bellhop and then trying to infiltrate the Confederate lines as a spy that they assume is one of their great spies. And we're going to see an excerpt that runs about 10 or 11 minutes, and essentially it showcases nicely his visual material and also his great abilities with a line, and then just some of the nice things that happen in the midst of this film when he's managing to go between lines with two uniforms, one on either side of his body.
We are now ready to proceed with the conferral of the degree. President Worthen.
Welcome, friends of Ball State and fans of Red Skelton. And thank you, University Singers, for being with us. It's a pleasure to start another school year with one of Ball State's outstanding musical groups. And thank you, Professor Gehring, for your remarks about our distinguished guest. May we now proceed with the conferral of the honorary degree. I ask Dr. Vanderhill, Mr. Bracken, and Mr. Garrison to come forward to assist. Richard Red Skelton, will you please present yourself for the awarding of this degree?
Legally, you are Richard Bernard Skelton, native of Vincennes, Indiana, but to 3 generations of Americans, you are Red Skelton, one of America's favorite clowns. A warm and witty comedian, you entered our homes and kept millions amused for more than 35 years by way of radio and later television, entertaining us with wholesome family skits. Although your formal education ended early, you have been a lifelong student. You persevered and earned your high school diploma in 1938 and also took extension courses from various universities. A collector of rare books, you own an original Samuel Johnson dictionary. Throughout your more than 60-year career in vaudeville, radio, motion pictures, television, and the college circuit, you have studied your audiences in order to perfect your craft. You are truly one of America's great mimes. As a philosopher, you have shared with us such short bits of wisdom as, I do not dislike my enemies because I made them. And when you kill incentive, you create mediocrity and you kill a nation. A multi-talented man, you have composed many symphonies, some of which have been recorded by the London Philharmonic. Your paintings, poetry, and short stories have reached appreciative audiences. Truly a national treasure, you, Red Skelton, have given much to your nation. A man of deep patriotic conviction, you recorded your Pledge of Allegiance, which has sold more than 5 million copies and has twice been written into the congressional record. We at Ball State University have been thrice blessed to have you on the campus to share your wit and wisdom with us. In 1977, 1981, and again this week. Our students have been enriched by their personal contacts with you. They remember you affectionately as a friendly, wonderful human being, sharing a meal, painting a picture, or visiting nearby schools. All of Indiana is proud of you. Ball State University is honored to welcome you into the warm fellowship of alumni of this institution and to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa. Mr. President, it is my honor to present Red Skelton for the degree of Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Ball State University, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges thereunto pertaining, and award you this diploma in testimony thereof, and present you the academic hood for this degree.
Well, this never happened before. I thank each and every one of you on the platform and you ladies and gentlemen who basically make it all possible. You're wonderful people. It's a wonderful thing to look out now at the lovely faces. It's like a flower garden, actually. To receive an honor like this, and the research you did was amazing. I'll tell you a very strange thing. He took the one part of the picture. Is it all right if I tell him about this thing that we just saw? When we did the picture, the Southern Yankee, they took it out and previewed it, and the preview cards, the people who go see the preview, they write out what they thought of the movie. Well, it looked like we wrote all the cards, you know? And at that time, Dory Sherry was taking over MGM. And he said, we're in front of the theater and all proud as can be, the director and myself, everybody. He says, we're in trouble. I says, what do you mean we're in trouble? He said, the picture was supposed to be made for $1.5 million. You brought it in at $750,000. Now, when we go to the bank to get money for the next picture, they're going to say, make another one like that. So he says, we're going to have to do retakes. I said, retakes? Now, for 35 days, we went back to the studio, and we sat there all day, and I rehearsed the part where I put that straw on that, for 35 days we sat there. See? Now, 35 days later, and another $1 million on top of it, they released this picture. Now, if you remember real closely, when I got on the horse to ride out backwards, I was so angry. I was angry. Why should they go out and take a picture that says the people say they like and everything, and do retakes, and that's going to be the retakes? Just that one scene for 35 days. I went out and I said, I'm going to get even with them. Now, I don't drink. I went out, I drank beer. I ate spaghetti. When I got on that horse, if you think back now, I weighed 194 pounds. When you saw me walking like this getting off the horse, I weighed 227 pounds. But when I saw it here, I thought, my goodness, how I tortured myself. Then, the part where I sat down each time, I go, oh. Well, I look at myself, and I look like Wally Berry to me, And I got to laughing, and every time I go, ooh, they, for a day and a half to get me to go, ooh. Because they sync the picture. What they call by sync, there's a line goes across the screen, goes, whoop. And when it gets to the end, you say, ooh. And I laughed for a day and a half. I couldn't. But we're talking about humor and the people. Where do you get humor from? I just played a state fair in up in Pennsylvania. Oh, you're from Pennsylvania? They all came. It's lovely. I spent a week there one day. Well, anyhow, up there I was in Pittsburgh, And they said, don't come up to Clearfield because of the hotel. It is so bad. And it was bad. I mean, the towels were murder, you know. They were so fluffy you couldn't get them in your suitcase. And at the hotel, they had a real bellhop. This guy had one leg. But they called me up and says, don't come to Clearfield because the hotel is so bad. Why don't you stay in Pittsburgh and we'll come and pick you up on Thursday and bring you down to your interviews on Friday and your shows on Saturday. I said, fine. So I stayed in Pittsburgh. On Thursday morning, I go downstairs, and it's the mayor of this little town. He's waiting for me, and he had a car that was from here to that wall. I says, boy, I'm going into politics. He says, no, it's not my car. It belongs to the local undertaker. So I said, oh, well, so I'm sitting in the back of this car. You got to yell to talk to the driver, you know. Now we're driving along, and I start telling him how he can make more money with his business, you know, like selling retractable cleats for little stepping, you know, and plastic teardrops for relatives that are not too sincere, you know. And I says, always tell your customers to let the creditors be their pallbearers. They've carried you this far, they just well go through with it. But this is where you get humor from. Now we get into this little town, and he says to me, would you mind coming down to the mortuary and meet my mother and father? He says, we all run this thing together. I said, sure. I walk in, and there's a little lady standing there. She says, oh, Red Skelton, I'm sure glad to see you. She says, you cheered me up. She said, I lost my husband about a month ago. I said, you want me to help you find him? Then I said, I'm sorry. I just thought I could make you laugh. She said, oh, I said, I'm sorry about your husband. Are you ready? She said, no, don't worry about him. She said, now I know where he's at nights. Now I go out and I do my performance the next day, and don't get up, make her jump. I go out on the stage and I said to this little undertaker, I says, I would like to thank you in some way. He says, oh, you don't have to mention me, just knock him dead. Now when the show is over, I go back to the hotel and I get a phone call about 2 a.m. He says, Red? I says, yes. He says, I'm not going to be able to use the big car tomorrow because I've got 4 bodies I got to plant tomorrow. And I got 2 funerals, and 4 funerals. He says, so, but I'll see that you get back to Pittsburgh. I said, oh, that's okay. Now it's 5 o'clock in the morning because it's 2.5-hour drive back to Pittsburgh, see, to get my plane. Now it's like one of those Hitchcock movies. There's a heavy fog, you know. Yeah, I thought Carter was in town. Anyhow, there's this heavy fog, and through this fog comes these lights. And as it gets closer, I realize that it's a hearse. So they put my trunks and my props and stuff in the back of this hearse, and I'm sitting up in the front. Now, it's 2 hours, and I've been up all night now because after the performance, I never go to bed. I just sort of set up and pack and stuff. And I'm sitting and I'm going like this. I'm doing it. He said, you want to lay down in the back? I said, no. He says, well, doze off. I says, no. I says, you got your name on the side of this thing. And people will go by and say, boy, what a cheap funeral. They're burying him setting up now. Now we pull into the airport in Pittsburgh, and you know how they check your bags at the curb as you go in? This hearse pulls in, and a hush. falls over the airport. Everybody going. We couldn't get one sky cap to come over and help us unload it. Finally, one of the sky caps come over and he says, what's up, Red? I says, I got to catch a plane. I got to get my luggage on there. A little lady comes up to the hearse one seat and she says, hi, Red. Is it too late to ask for an autograph? But you know, there's humor in everything. I don't mean to make fun of people, but if you watch the things that your fellow man does, you can sort of mime him without disliking him completely. And it's a wonderful feeling to walk out and hear laughter. And it's quite rewarding to hear laughter without the use of four-letter words. I do thank each and every one of you for your kindness over the years. You're very lovely, and as my mother says, and my grandmother used to say, don't take life seriously, because you're not going to get out of it alive. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Red Skelton, and welcome to the ranks of Ball State alumni. In the past, you've brought us wit and charm and laughter to Ball State University, and tonight you bring us honor by permitting the university to honor you. Let us conclude this evening with the alma mater. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise while the university singers bring us their special arrangement.
Thank you. Will hum. He just says when the music starts, we walk out. I says, but doesn't Will hum?